Here's something most people don't know about Canada. If you're under 12 years old, you literally cannot be charged with a crime, not arrested, not prosecuted, nothing. The absolute worst that happens? Maybe some community service. And one dad decided his 10-year-old son needed to hear that right in front of the principal, in the principal's own office. Okay, so let me set this up properly because the context here matters. Marcus and his wife Fiona live outside Toronto. Good family, solid. Their son Tyler's 10, and look, this kid is not small. He's one of the biggest kids in his grade, built like a little linebacker. But here's the thing about Tyler. His dad raised him right. Since he was old enough to understand, Marcus drilled it into him. You solve problems with your words. You don't swing first. You don't swing second. You go to your teacher. You go to the principal. And if none of that works, you come tell me and your mom. Now, two things you need to know about Tyler. One, he plays hockey. This is Canada, right? Of course he plays hockey. And two, he's been doing taekwondo since kindergarten. Since kindergarten. This kid has been training in martial arts for 5 years. He's got discipline. He's got control. And honestly, if he wanted to, he could probably handle most of these problems himself. But he doesn't. Because his dad told him not to. Remember that. It's gonna matter. So there's this group of kids at Tyler's school, and these kids have been absolute terrors. Not just to Tyler, to his friends too. We're talking daily harassment. Shoving in the hallway, trash talk at recess. The kind of stuff that makes a kid dread going to school every morning. And Tyler, bless this kid, he does exactly what his dad told him. He goes to the teacher on recess duty, a woman named Ms. Calloway. He walks up and reports it, does the right thing, and you know what she tells him? She tells him that these kids are new to Canada, that they don't know how to fit in yet, that they don't understand how things work here. That's it. That's the response. Your kid is getting shoved around every day, and the answer is basically, well, they're still adjusting. So Tyler goes to the principal. Guy named Whitmore walks himself right into the office like his dad taught him, goes up the chain of command, and the principal gives him the exact same line. They're newcomers. They don't know any better. They've been talked to, and that was supposed to be enough. Now Tyler goes home and tells his mom, Fiona. And I need you to understand something about Fiona. This woman is not Canadian. She is Irish. And I don't mean like, oh, my great-grandmother came over from Dublin, Irish. I mean, born and raised, actual passport stamped. From Ireland, Irish. And when her son comes home and tells her the school is doing nothing, she wanted to march down there and handle it herself. Marcus said, and I quote, she would have ended up in custody. I believe him. I completely believe him. So Marcus tells Fiona, I got this, let me handle it. And he calls the school, schedules a meeting, him, Tyler, the principal, and Miss Calloway. All four of them in a room together. Now, Marcus walks into that meeting with one goal. Stop the bullying, that's it. He's not looking for a fight. He's not trying to cause a scene. He just wants the school to do its job. So he sits down and asks them directly, what are you doing about this? And they give him the same speech they gave his kid. These boys are new. They don't understand Canadian culture yet. They've seen too much American TV. They've been spoken to. Marcus nods. Okay, have you called in the parents? Have you sat down with their families and told them this needs to stop? The principal shifts in his chair. No, they hadn't done that. They hadn't called a single parent. They talked to the kids and called it a day. Let that sink in. Your child is being bullied every single day. The school knows about it. They've been told multiple times. And they haven't even picked up the phone to call the bully's parents. Not once. And this is the moment. This is where Marcus makes his move. He doesn't raise his voice, doesn't slam the desk. He just turns to his son, calm as anything. And he says, Tyler, I want you to know something. In Canada, if you are under 12 years old, you cannot be charged with a crime. You can't be arrested. You can't be prosecuted. The absolute worst thing that could happen to you, if something were to go down, is maybe some community service. He said it clearly. He said it slowly. And he said it while looking his 10-year-old son directly in the eyes. Right there in the principal's office. The room exploded, and I mean, the principal and the teacher both lost it at the same time. You can't tell him that. You cannot say that to a child. What are you doing? They were practically climbing over each other to shut him down. Like he just pulled the pin on a grenade. Which, honestly, he kind of did. But here's where Marcus is smarter than everyone in that room. He doesn't flinch. He just looks at both of them, dead calm, and says, "Am I wrong? Was anything I just said incorrect? Tell me I'm lying." Silence. Dead silence. Because they couldn't say he was wrong. Everything he told his son was 100% legally accurate. Under Canada's Youth Criminal Justice Act, children under 12 cannot be held criminally responsible. Period. That's not an opinion. That's the law. And both the principal and the teacher knew it. They just didn't want a 10-year-old to know it. Especially a 10-year-old with 5 years of taekwondo training who's been getting pushed around for months. Then Marcus does the thing that I think is absolutely genius. He points at the principal. He points at the teacher. And he says to Tyler, "Remember that they didn't say I was wrong." He wanted his son to see it. Not just hear the information, but watch the people in charge confirm it by saying nothing. That's next level. That's not just a dad protecting his kid. That's a dad teaching his kid how the world actually works. Sometimes the people in charge won't help you. And sometimes you have to make them. Marcus finishes the meeting with one last thing. He tells Tyler, "You've got 1 week. If you're still being bullied in 1 week, you tell me." That's it. No threats. No promises of what would happen. Just tell me in a week. But everyone in that room understood what was underneath those words. This kid has been doing the right thing for months. He's followed every rule. And if the school doesn't fix this in 7 days, Dad's not going to tell him to use his words anymore. The clock is ticking. And you know what happened? Funny how fast things move when the right pressure gets applied. Within days, every single one of those bullies' parents got called into the school. Every single one sat down, told to get their kids in line. The boys who'd been terrorizing Tyler and his friends, library detention for a month, no more recess, no more hallway power trips. Just them, some books, and a whole lot of silence. Amazing what happens when you remind people that the alternative is a trained 10-year-old who just found out he's legally untouchable. Now, here's the funny part. Marcus says the principal and the teacher are still upset with him, like he's the bad guy in this story. I'm sorry, what? Your school failed to protect a kid for months. The kid did everything right, reported it multiple times, and the best you could come up with was, "They're still adjusting? And you're mad at the dad who actually got results?" Come on. The only person in that whole story who should be upset is Tyler for having to deal with it that long in the first place. His wife Fiona said he should have given Tyler that information privately. And okay, I get the logic. Maybe don't drop a legal loophole on your kid in front of school administration. But honestly, I think that was the whole point. It wasn't really for Tyler, it was for them. It was Marcus telling the principal and the teacher in the most polite, legal, undeniable way possible. Either you fix this, or my son will. And they fixed it. Sometimes you don't need to throw a punch. You just need to let people know you could.